He's a private investigator, and he's got a bail recovery.
Like she said, I'm from Loveland. I have a fugitive recovery business, and also have a private investigation business. I'm retired military, so I don't have to work very hard. So I don't have to work too hard. When I am finished also, what we could do with the questions, because there may be a lot of stuff that the other folks are going to answer after I'm finished, is maybe ask us as a panel after we're done, because I know that each of us have brought a little piece of the pie to cover for you guys. When I was brought into this, and I'm sure you guys are probably thinking the same thing, this is a big old elephant. This is a big old ugly elephant. And it's hard to really grasp, you know, it was for me in the beginning, exactly what this is all about and what's going on. Being a Chamber of Commerce member in Loveland, I came to sue, and once I was made aware of this, and it does affect more than half of my business, because of what we provide, I asked, what can I do to help? Because this is wrong. And my piece is basically, right now we're trying to get this before the Northern Colorado Business Alliance and the NCLA to get them to take a position on it from a business point of view. As I was leaving my house today, I saw something very interesting that applies to this, and I'm going to keep this under 15 minutes. North Dakota, you know, it's really strange how you're walking out the door and something comes on television. They talk about how that North Dakota, Dakota meaning friend, has an extremely low crime rate. One of the reasons for that is the citizens all pull together and look out for each other. And 21 years in the military, you know, I was taught not to walk past a mistake. And I think that, you know, one of the things we need to do, you don't see enough of that, is a community pulling together and not walking past mistakes. Basically, like Sue said, in 2006, there was an attempt to expand pretrial. Now, pretrial does serve a purpose, but what they're trying to do is expand it to the point where they do away with private bonding. This was put to a vote to the citizens. It was voted down by 70%. The county took it upon themselves to go ahead, and the program took a life of its own. I find that amazing. The mission statement of pretrial services is to replace private sector bonding. According to the 8th Amendment, and I know that Jan's going to cover a lot of this, just one statement I wanted to pull out of there is you know, the purpose of giving bail. One of the big things is it's an interference with the liberty of a person who has not been convicted of a crime. A lot of times, you know, we've heard the word arrest a lot tonight. And a lot of times when you hear the word arrest, the image you get in your mind automatically is some bad guy getting handcuffs put on him. You know, that's what a lot of people imagine. That's not always the case. You know, whatever happened to being innocent until proven guilty, you know. The thing that I am going to focus on is the business aspect of this. And as far as the workforce, it affects business through the workforce. Like Sue had said, there are a lot of individuals on pretrial monitoring. 1,600 per month, approximately.
It's approximately one.
Now imagine how that affects the workforce out there. Those of you that are business owners or that are managers or that work in a business, imagine countywide that we've got 1,600 people that are required to be monitored under this pretrial monitoring. That affects business in this county. The bonding industry in Larimer County spends on an average an estimate of $100,000 in advertising. These folks, these bonding agents spend, I would say, and I think that that's a low number, spend $100,000 in advertising alone. So we're going to get rid of that revenue if we do away with private sector bonding. And by the way, this is not a tool that's going to reduce crime. I'm a fugitive recovery agent, and I'll tell you, just like today, I went through 4 jurisdictions looking for a guy, for an individual down in the Denver area. A county deputy would not have the power to do that because I'm hired by a bonding agent in the way that Taylor versus Tainter and the way the law is set up, I can pursue people into another state. So what's going to happen is you're going to have a lot of criminals running around and with nobody but jurisdiction to be able to cross certain lines to go get these folks. It's not going to reduce crime. The bonding industry, like I said, spends $100,000 in advertising on an estimate. They pay for their own office space, okay? They spend a huge amount of money on office equipment, printers, faxes, and computers. This is all paid for by the bonding agents, not taxpayers. So if we do a pretrial expansion, we're not just talking about putting 23 people on paying for the amount of taxpayers' money, their salaries. We're talking about paying for their computers. We're talking about paying for their copiers, for their laptops. This $1.7 million is going to continue to grow. This is going to get bigger. This is only the beginning of this thing, you know. And how would it affect the economic climate in Larimer County? Private sector bonding is replaced with pretrial. The bonding industry pays taxes on revenue twice. The bonding industry, bail bonding agents, pay taxes on revenue twice. They pay the Division of Insurance and they pay the state. So that's twice that they're taxed. Now that you're going to do away with that tax revenue. That's one thing you're going to lose. And you're going to trade it for paying out tax dollars. And now I keep in mind, at the same time, we're not reducing crime. We're not really accomplishing anything here. So, and if someone's not going to show up to court, they're not going to show up to court. Now, how's that going to affect the skip rate? It's not. You know, I chase after these guys every day. They're either going to go to court or they're not. Most of them decide to skip before they even get out of jail. Once to the state, once to the Division of Insurance, bonding agents are responsible for their own health insurance and retirement plans. With government employees that it would take to run the expanded pretrial program, the taxpayer will be responsible for health insurance and retirement. Okay? The bonding industry is responsible for ensuring that an individual released on bond appears before the court. Sue and Jan are responsible that if they bond someone out, they're responsible that that person will appear before a judge. In the event that an individual fails to appear before on the set court date and they issue a bench warrant, it's their responsibility to find them, apprehend, and surrender them to the court, either through themselves or by agent, hiring someone that is qualified to do that. If they fail to do that, they have to pay the court the money that's due. In other words, if someone is on a $30,000 bond, they've got to pay the court $30,000. Adams County last year took in an estimate of $1 million in forfeitures. That would be gone if we did away with private sector bonding. There's no argument that pretrial does serve a purpose in the judicial system. The decision to replace private bonding with pretrial has already been addressed in a vote. It was already put to the public to vote. And the public voted it down by 70%. So I don't see where the question is here. So whose place is it to deceitfully decide to take tax dollars in spite of the public's decision and proceed with the replacement of private sector bonding, is my question. Whose place is it to place requirements on individuals to provide urine, blood, and alcohol tests prior to their conviction? Whose place is it to disregard the constitutional rights of citizens, is the bottom line. And someone has to stand up and put a stop to this. And, you know, there's the other thing is, if we allow government to get into small business or business in general, you know, that's the whole thing here, and that's a big subject right now, is government taking over business. And that's what this is also. This is a prime example of government taking over business. And if we allow it to happen here, I read a paper, Mr. Polhill, Dennis Polhill from Denver, writes some, I don't know if you guys are familiar, writes some excellent papers about government getting into private business. You think, well, yeah, that's just the bonding industry. Well, I'll tell you, it happened in Adams County, and it was a miniature golf course. Government took over a miniature golf course. They moved in with, and that's another story. And we'd be glad to show you many examples of that. I appreciate you giving me the opportunity to speak, and believe that it's Jan's turn. I think, I'm not sure.